Alright, I'm going to be speaking about regex, which is short for regular expressions in JavaScript, and can be used for a variety of things, but we're going to go through those in a second. What we'll cover in this lesson, we'll find out what the regular expression is, we'll do what it can do and what it's used for. We'll learn the methods that are used with regular expressions, which there are 6 of them, but we're going to cover 5 of them in today's lesson, and what special characters are and what flags are, and how to use them to solve problems that I've set up previously. Right, so what is a regular expression? A regular expression is a way or a pattern which is used to match inside a string, and then, well, depending on what method we're using, it will return either true or false, maybe a new string, or an index. We'll look at that soon. There's characters, expressions, and automatic transformation characterization. Right, so I've put an example down here of what a regular expression could look like. They can get very complicated. Regex can be very, very complicated. There's so many different special characters and flags that you can use together to create a certain type of match, but we're not going to get to this complicated level in today's lesson. Yeah, that looks horrible, but we won't do anything like that. So there are 2 types of syntax that we can use, and they're used for different reasons. So on the left side with the type 1, this is used with literally whatever you put between these 2 forward slashes, we will be matching in the string. So the reason we can use a second one, well, the second one's used for is we can pass a variable inside the brackets here. So if there's a variable that's changing and we're trying to match that inside a string, then we'll use this syntax. And if it's the string that we're using is a set string every time in the code, then we'll be using this one. And I'll give you time to read what's on here. I'm going to show a quick example of using the syntax type 1 in on a website that I found, which is quite useful. Get rid of the flags. So if we write a string in here, I don't know, and then inside these, which is what I showed a second ago on the PowerPoint, we can find what we're trying to match in this string. So for example, let's try and find L, and then which we're finding here, which is one match, and it gives you the range. If you want to try love, then it's that, and as it goes there. I will show this using JavaScript in a second, but first we have to go through the methods, because using or setting a regex, usually use it in a method to return something, so I'll do that in a second. Just carry on. Right, so the syntax is going to look something like this. This would be, I'd say, the skeleton of what we're going to be doing. So first we'll have a string in some form. In this case, I wrote it as a variable, and then we'll set the regex depending on what syntax we're using. In this case, I'm using syntax 1, and what we're going to find inside the 2 forward slashes, and then we'll be returning the regex variable, whatever method we're using, and inside that method the string, or depending on what method we're using, they switch around. We'll have the string dot method and then the regex, but we'll see that as we go along. So here are we're going to be looking at 5 different methods today, and I'll be going through simple examples of each one. So here we have the test method. This method tests for a regex inside a string, and it will return true or false. And like I was explaining in the previous slide, we'll have the regex object on the outside and the string inside, or the other way around, depending on what method it is. In this case, it would look something like this. and we have the match. Actually, I'm gonna go through each one as an example first, because then it's just too much information for everybody to take in. So we'll do the test one first. So, alright, so we have this string here. Then we can set, or first we have to set the regex itself, what we're using to match inside the string. Does anybody remember what the syntax is, or how we're going to write that out? Let's say we're looking for the letter O. So can anybody tell me how we're going to do that? I mean, you could call it regex. I find it quicker, easier to call it rare, but yeah, equal.
Then do you want to use the new regular expression one or the other one?
Or use the
forward slashes?
We'll use forward slashes for this one.
Okay.
So we'll do that, L here. And then for the test method, if I remember correctly, it is, yeah, I think it is regex.test. We're testing for the inside the string, so we'll do this, and this should return true, which it does down here. And that's really the basics of how the test method works. It's just quite easy to understand, I guess. And if you put in, I don't know, something that isn't in here, say V. Oh, it is in there. I don't know, say A. Turns false, as we expected. Alright. So then we have the next method. Wow. Which is match. So match returns an array. So it matches. So it'll match what you have in the regex in the string, and then it'll return an array with the element which has been matched. And that's really it. So I'll show that now. Actually, let's go back looking at syntax string. So in this case, it will be string regex, and then let's say we're looking for L. Oh yeah, I'm just. Then we have, it returns here an array, but this array shows all the information, which, I mean, when you're returning this, usually I'm not sure if that comes up. Maybe can't return, console log it maybe. Alright. Okay, well. Alright, on this console, I mean, it's returning all the information given with the specific match, and then doing something.
Just because we're looking for one match?
Yeah, it is, but that's what I'm not talking about global yet, so we'll just keep it as that for now. Right, and then we have search. Search again matches in the string and returns the index of where it's found this match. And then if it hasn't found a match, it will just return -1. So we can again look at this. Sorry, give me a sec. Something wrong with that? Alright, we get the index 2. That makes sense because we have 0, 1, 2 right here. So that's how search works. Do I understand what's going on here? Right, then replace, which I think is one of the most useful ones, this method, is it will find a match inside a string, and then you pass another parameter or an argument into the method, and it will replace what's in that string with what you set it to. So I'll show that now. Here's the syntax. So if the string will do replace. Oh, here we do. But that one's a hard one. The replace will do the regex is what we're finding first, and then what we're replacing it with, I don't know, we could do, we're going to replace L with, I don't know, Z, let's say. Then we can do that, and it will return the string here.
Can I add something?
Yep.
So, can you replace instead of the L on the I's?
On the eyes?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
All of the eyes.
All of the eyes?
Yes, correct.
So both eyes with a yeah, we can, but I'm not gonna explain that in the minute. I'll explain that in the next few slides about global and insensitive case. And we have the exec method, which is very similar to match. I mean, it's very similar. It changes when you're looking for more than one match, but I'm not going to show an example of the exec until we look at global and insensitive case. But this is a bit more complicated, I'd say, so we'll move on from there. Right, so let me explain what special characters are. So when you're not just looking for a specific, I don't know, word or character, and there's and if we, for example here, if we're looking for a string of A followed by more than 0 B's, we can write something like this. So in this case, the star is a special character, and what that means is there's a 0 or more occurrences of the previous character. So what this will look for is an A followed by B or more B's. So maybe A and 2 B's, A and 3 B's, and then followed by a C. So I'll show that because that's,
That match no B's.
it will, yeah, it will match no B's as well. So it will match
AC.
It will match AC. It will match an A followed by any amount of B's. But yeah, it will match AC. We can write that out and see. Let's try. We'll use test and use regex. We'll change this to, let's do the example that I've shown. So A, B star. We won't do this followed by C yet. So if you write, let's say A, and I don't know how many B's you want to use. I mean, the star means 0 or more, so we can do that, and this should match that string. Sorry, this should be string. So that comes out true. Sorry. Then this would also match AB, true. And it should match just A because B star is 0 or more. So yeah, it does match. Like an example, if it's followed by any character, let's say C, then we can do any amount of B's in C, and that should match, which it does, true. And it should also match just AC, which it does. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay. I mean, that's the basics of, I mean, that's one special character. There's around 30 special characters to use. I'm not going to go through all of them because I mean it can get very complicated. That first line that I showed you on one of the first slides is using loads of different special characters to create a certain type of search, but we won't do that. So these are some special characters that I find useful to use. There's only 6 of them, but I mean if you want to look at any more, you can find them anywhere on the internet. So here we have we use a backslash, and that will say to the regex that D isn't just a character that we're looking for. It's a special character. And same case here with the N and with the brackets. So with the backslash D, that will just find any character, any digit character, and with N, that will match. If you change that N to, I don't know, say any number, it will find the number of matches preceding that N. So I'll show that now. Alright, so if we have a curly brackets and N, in this N we can change it to a number, let's say 3, and that should find, that will match anything that has, let me check, sorry. Exactly N occurrences. So if there's 3 A's in a string, it should return true, and anything else it shouldn't return true. So yeah, we have true for here, but if there's 2 A's in a string, it'll be false, and anything above it'll anything above.
Well, there were still 3 A's in that string. So
Of course, yeah, of course. So yeah, in that case, there's still 3 A's in the string, so it will match. It will come back true. That's that one.
I think this is looking for 3 consecutive A's.
Yeah.
3 consecutive, yeah. So there were 3 consecutive A's in that example, and obviously it returned true. So if we go back and we space, that will return, but this shouldn't return true. Yeah, it's false, because there's no 3 consecutive A's in that string. This one here will find all white spaces, any white spaces in the character. So we'll give you a quick example and someone can run me through how to do that. Where has it gone? Sorry. Well, I haven't got the snippet anymore apparently. Lovely. Right, let's just Right, so can someone run, wait, let me look at if we all look at this just for the time being, and can someone run me through how we'd find all the white spaces in this line or in this string here from the start? Anyone?
What do you want to return?
Well, in this case, oh yeah, we need to, yeah, actually, we'll use match that returns a, oh, we can't do that either because I haven't gone through. Okay, no, we'll leave this for a second. Right, so there's a few more. This is a non-digit, which is similar to the digit, just capital changes. And in here, in these brackets, This is also a special character. Anything that you put in these brackets, it will find in the string. So in this case, any x, y, z within the string at any point in the string, it will match that. So in our, if we use test, it will return true if there's any x, y, or z in that string. And quite useful to use is if we write A to Z, if you can, as a capture group, then it will find any A to Z character in the string. And we can also do this with capitals, A to Z, and that will find any A capital to Z, any capital letters in a string.
So for that, we'll return T.
It wouldn't. If it depends what method we use for it to return T. If we wanted it to return T, we'd use match, which would return T in an array, and we could do that, I guess. Let's do. Then it would be, is it?
I can't remember which one.
Neither do I, they all change. Oh. Right, so this matched first T. Jesus Christ. T here. But we're going to move on to how to find the capital letter many times in the string. So if this was a capital letter, how would we find it to return all of them? So T and L. In this case, it's finding the first one, returning it, because we've done A to Z, which is any capital letter. If we did A to Z lowercase, it will just return the whole string, I assume. Oh no, it returns the first lowercase, of course, because we're not doing global. Okay. Right, so I'll move on. Oh, this backslash is quite important. So for special characters like the star that we looked at the start, that star works without a backslash to tell the regex that it's a special character. So if you wanted to just match, so I'll show this in an example. So when we use star, for example, a star, star's already a special character. So to tell the regex that we want to match a star in the string, we have to put a backslash in front of it to tell it that it's not a special character, that it's just a normal character. And the other way around, for when we have, say, a D that will find a digit, because D normally we're just looking for it as a element in the string, we have to tell it that it's a special character by putting a backslash in it. But when it's not, I mean, that's quite hard to explain, but I don't know.
That makes sense. It does the opposite.
Yeah, it does the opposite in other words. Right, so we'll come to flags, which are similar to special characters who perform special matches. This is what the syntax for a flag is like. We have the pattern, or that's missing an N. We have the pattern that we're trying to match, and then the flag will come after it. And with this syntax, the flag will have to be, well, I mean, this, just like before I explained that with this syntax we can pass variables into here, we can also do this for flags. So it's a dynamic sort of syntax in a way, but it has to be put in quotations, the flag. And if you want to do one or more flags, you can put them all together inside the quotations. You don't have to space them out with another comma. So we'll go and see. Well, I'm going to go through two flags that I think are most used and most important, but there are 5 flags. I mean, you can look at those in your own time, but these are the 2 most important ones, I think, and which I use. So the I flag, it represents the case insensitive search. So in the syntax here, if you put the I flag after the regex pattern, it will look for that pattern regardless of what case it is in the string or in the pattern. And the same way with the other syntax. And the G flag is the global search. So this G flag we'll use to find more than one match in a string, and I will show an example in a minute. But this is quite important, as it tells the regex that once it's found a match, to keep running through the string to find other matches with the same criteria. And it's in a similar way to I, this is how you write the syntax. So I'll go for an example. We'll do a harder example. Yeah, I feel like we can go through this now that we know, well, we've gone through most of the methods. So in this example, I'm looking to match these characters here in this string and remove them from the string. We'll start with just the one. So I'm looking for this exclamation mark in this string, and I want to remove it and return the string with the exclamation mark removed. Does anybody want to start me off on how we'd approach this problem?
So you've got an array, so you're going to have to do it with the second syntax, the dynamic one.
Yep.
So yeah, declare a new variable.
Call it regex. Regex.
Yeah, new
New
regular expression.
XP.
And then inside the brackets you do array.
Array.
Would that work?
Tell me. So.
And then you're going to want it to find every single exclamation mark. So you're going to want to do a global search. So you want to, with this syntax here, you do a comma and then in quotation marks a G, like you said.
Yep. So what's been said here is that we're going to go through, we're going to set the regex as the array. I mean, setting the regex as the array it's not a string that we're looking for at the moment. So we need to do an array element, let's say, in this case. So the index would be 0. And now we're referring to the element of the array, which is the exclamation mark. So yeah, so that's what we'll be doing in this case. Does anybody know what method we'd be using to try and solve this problem? Replace? This is a good shout. That's a good shout.
It says it at the top.
Oh, it does. Still no one said it. Right, so can you walk me through how I'm going to write this out? Yeah. No.
Yeah, string dot.
String dot replace. Replace. And we have the regex, and we are replacing it with. Well, in this case, we're trying to take this out of the string. So what would be good is to replace it with an empty string with no space, and that should replace it. Well, I'll see what this returns. Let's get rid of that. And it does. It returns.
That was risky.
It returns ABC. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. So now the question is, what happens when you want to remove more than one element in the array? So say you want to remove B as well. How would we go about doing that? This is a bit trickier. I mean, it's definitely not straightforward, but it isn't too hard. So, does anybody have any ideas?
Using includes maybe, or
I mean, you probably could.
if I change the string into an array and then filter.
Could we join the array first?
Join the array.
Make it a string.
I mean, there's loads of different ways. There's one way I would do it. Thank you. One way I'd do it is I'd loop through the array elements, and then I'd find the match, and then push the match into a new array and return the array. Sorry, not return the array. What am I saying? Oh, sorry. Make that string that's been changed equal the new string, and then loop again. But I mean, we can try includes, or we can try, and then we'll see which one's the. What's the way you're saying?
I was saying just join the array.
So you get exclamation mark B.
Or if you want it, the array.
Join the array like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here, just that.
With just
Empty string.
Yeah.
now you've got exclamation mark B as a string.
Inside the array, or just
Not inside the array.
a string. Yeah. And then we can do that by replacing. So we're just replacing joint array.
Is you have to put the string within square brackets.
What do you mean?
So within regular expressions, you said you could use the square brackets to match
Yep.
one character.
Yep. Yep. So you're saying do this so any character within that string will be replaced with an empty string. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced that will work as it is, but we can try. See, I think you might have to make it a string literal to do it that way.
I mean, let's console log. I'm not
I'm not sure about this approach.
I'm not sure about this approach either, but this isn't the way I would do it. I just want to check the joint array.
I mean, you could have made joint array an array by just putting it in square brackets, and then you would have to change it.
Right,
Just like
yeah, I don't know why it's
So replace the first match of exclamation mark.
Yeah.
B that we didn't replace instead. Alright.
Is that right? It's not, no. Replaced the B. Yeah, it didn't replace every element. It left the last exclamation mark.
yeah, my way of doing it, you wouldn't use regex. You
Yeah.
don't need to.
So why it left the last exclamation mark?
Because it matched a B and exclamation mark together.
Correct.
That's why. So what I would do, I'd use a classic for loop and set variable I 0 i's
Semicolon.
less than array dot length for the length of the array that we're matching in, and then I plus plus. Put this inside. This needs to change. So we're looking for the first array element in here. So we'll do array. Say again.
The ith element.
Sorry, yeah, the ith element. So we're gonna start with the loop will start with the first element, and then we have that G inside because that G will tell the regex in some way that it's matched the first element it's found in the I. Oh, sorry, no, it wouldn't. It's just matching the ith element. So in the first case, it will match the exclamation mark, And then what we want to do is set the string equal to string dot replace the regex, and then that. So the reason we're doing this is because once it finds the ith element in the string here, then we're replacing it with nothing, and that's going to be set to the new string. So in the first iteration, what we'll do is we'll find this in the string, and using the global, it will find it twice. Once it's found it twice, those two matches will be replaced with nothing essentially, and then that whole string that's been replaced will be equal to string, and then the loop will run again. So then on the second iteration, it will find B, and once it finds B, it will replace it with nothing and equal it to the string again, and then we can just return the string, and that should that should return AC, which it does. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Mutating the string.
Don't do that.
Don't mutate the string.
Don't do a for loop, right? Because with regex you can replace multiple things at once. That's why regex is so powerful, right? If you use a for loop, you're cheating a bit, right? You're ignoring the capability of using regex. So let's try to solve the same example without using a for loop. So, can you please, leave it there or comment it or whatever, but let's try to not use a for loop. So can you please do the new regex, so let regex equals new regex, blah blah blah. So the same thing we do for now. Right. So then, can you put the join thingy that Ray suggested before?
Yeah.
Inside of the, you can put it inline actually, inside of the regex.
Yeah.
Just put it there. Yeah. Array of join. Right. So, right. And then with the comma key.
With the
global,
comma G.
alright.
Right. And then can you do after that the replacing?
Yeah.
So if we try that, this is what we tried before, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
We have an we were doing it with, what were we doing it with? Oh right,
Right, right.
yeah, no, we had to do it like this. Inside the brackets to try and grab everything inside the brackets.
Right. Can you try to do something? When you do the join, can you replace the empty string with a pipe? No. Right. Can you try that? Can you get rid of the square brackets, please? In theory, okay, let me check something. Because there is a way with regex to do that easily.
Is it to do with the join inside the regex?
No, sorry. Let me have a look.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because we don't know what's going on, I recommend you to simplify this a bit. Yeah. Alright. So if we have string dot replace, just for testing purposes, I'm going to put it inline. So if we put b, empty string, right? So that should. Wait a minute, there is something wrong here. This is ignoring us, right?
You scroll down, I think it's returning something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Oh. Oh.
Before would have worked, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do that because for testing purposes, it's easier to put the regex inline, right? So where is the pipe? Well, I copied from here. right? Now it's not working because it's not global.
Yeah.
But if we put the G,
Yeah.
here you go. You see, way easier. And what I recommend you, if you struggle to understand this expression, the way I have one of my favorite websites. I'll show you.
You have to.
Yeah, not this one. Eventually, right? So regexpert.com, right? So you can paste the regex, and it tells you what it will find, right? So it will take your string and it will find either B or a exclamation mark, right? And based on that, the thing is easier to see what will this print, right? So obviously now we can put back the original example that was working, I hope. So it was just because of the string at the bottom, it wasn't working. So if we try this now, correct, it gives you the answer, right? So with pipes, it's like an or, right? Like find something or something else or something else or something else.
That's live. Doing a bit of this.
I mean, great. That's good. I didn't know that. I forgot what I was gonna do. So I hope we've sort of understood the I and the G flags after that. Does anybody have any questions? No. Okay. So we'll move on. I mean, there's still a few more examples that I'd like to do, but I don't know what I'm doing on time. Should I? No. Right. So we'll leave it there. Key takeaways is understanding what a regular expression is. I hope I've gone through that and everybody understands exactly what it is. How to use it with the syntax, and how to match using different methods, and understanding what flags are. I mean, we didn't go through all the flags, but the basics of what a flag is and how it would be used depending on what it is. And we've gone through two, which are quite important, I think. And special characters. There's so many special characters. We've only gone through a handful, but there are a lot you could use. And that's just a case of playing around with regex and understanding what different characters do to find certain matches. And that's it. And thank you very much.
So I'll go to like the top bar and then like you went recording. I was.